Welcome everyone. So happy that you're here. It is June 8, 2022. It's a sunny day in Colorado. Not that you can tell from my basement, but my studio's in the basement of my house at the moment. So welcome everyone from all over. We've got Woodstock and New York, not Vermont. That was my mistake. Hungary, Aniki's here today, and Hilly from the Netherlands, yay! Isla from Oregon, and Cheryl from Rhode Island, Michelle also from New York. I know I'm missing some here, but Mary from Wisconsin, and I'm so glad you're all here today. Woohoo! Good morning, Erin. Glad you made it to the live event. Hey, Marlena from Texas. Oh my gosh, over 100 degrees every day this week. I'm so sorry. We've gotten off a little bit easier in Colorado. It is usually fairly hot on the Front Range by now, but we have not been much above. We haven't hit 90, I don't think, so that's good. Hi, Bethany from Iowa. Glad you're all here. Welcome. Jessica's here from Texas. Yay. Barbara from San Diego. Gray in San Diego might be good, right? Will you get rain? I know in California, everybody's always hoping for the rain. So Lorna from Oxford, England, welcome. It's so funny to think about. It's not funny. It's just interesting to think about the weather all over the world and where you all are and how we all have different experiences of what we're doing today. And some of you, it's evening. Some of you, it's the middle of the night, in which case you're probably not here. But love all you people down in Australia. Thank you for watching the recordings. BC, I love Canada. I wouldn't mind living in BC. Maybe one day I'll move there. So it is June 8. Our next Change the Shed will be June 22nd. Which is 2 weeks from today. I had a couple of things jotted down to announce and talk to y'all about, and then I'm working on a copper pipe loom today on a new piece about Iceland. So that should be quite fun, I think. I think you'll like it. I don't know. So I put these here so I didn't forget. These are some of the samples I dyed for the dye class, which is open. Those of you who've been waiting for my dyeing with acid wool dyes class. Some of you have been waiting for years. I dare say some of you have been asking me for this class for 5 or more years. So it's finally done. It's ready to register if you go to my website at tapestryweaving.com. Under online workshops, you can sign up and make your own colors. I have had a lot of fun making the class. So if you're interested in dyeing, this is for protein fibers. So it is wool, silk, camel, anything that comes from an animal plus silk, which I guess silkworms are also animals, but protein dyes work well on silk. So yeah, this is a really fun class. So jump in for that. There's actually a live Q&A this Friday for people who jump in early. And there's also a discount. If you sign up before the end of June, there's a healthy discount on the price of the class. So come join me and we'll do some dyeing. And then the other class I have coming up is on the 18th, and it's about looms. So those of you who have questions about tapestry looms, it's just a 2-hour workshop on a Saturday. It'll be fun, and I'll talk about everything from the copper pipe looms I'm working on to this countermarch loom behind me, and help you figure out what loom might be great for you, or even if you just like to talk about looms. I'll be showing a whole bunch of different ones and talking about why they're good and what you might need for what you want to do, because of course the loom you choose has to do with what you want to create. Like not every loom is good for the thing you want to weave. So those are my 2 announcements. That workshop is on the 18th. So if you want to take it, sign up pretty soon. There's a limited number of seats because it's live. Hey, Judy from Vancouver Island in British Columbia. What a beautiful place that is. I've only been there once, but I sure loved it. And Bainbridge, Barbara, another beautiful place. I love the San Juan Islands. Definitely would love to live there. Susan from Pittsburgh, except that it's cloudy a lot. up in your neck of the woods, but probably in Pittsburgh too. Hey, Susan. So the other thing, last 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Change the Shed, I was considering shifting around what I was doing with Change the Shed. And so I'm here today to tell you, thank you so much for all your feedback. You all were amazing. I got so many comments and emails and thoughts about why you watch Change the Shed. And if anyone else is watching this episode and you want to pop in more comments below, why do you watch Change the Shed, and what's the benefit for you? I'd love to hear it. But I had so many wonderful responses. Thank you so much. I appreciate it immensely. And I'm going to leave Change the Shed as it is. So let's just keep on going. I'm having a great time. Really enjoy just coming here every couple weeks and sort of hanging out and showing you what I'm working on. So I will have to have a summer schedule because I will be on a couple hiking trips, short ones. So I'll look at that schedule, but I think it's pretty much going to fall every 2 weeks, even for the summer. So should be great. Yeah, so that's my Change the Shed announcement, is that let's just keep on going. And thank you for all of you who donated. I appreciated so much the extra infusion of support for this program, which will remain free for the moment anyway on YouTube. So if you want to make a donation so that I can keep doing this, it is on my website, tapestryweaving.com. Under online learning, there's a page that says Change the Shed, and you may want to go there anyway because there are lots of show notes. Like if you want to figure out where I got something or what I was talking about, or there's a link to a tapestry I talked about or a blog post or something, I put all those links on those Change the Shed pages. So you can go there and look at those. You can also see thumbnails of what I worked on that day. So if you want to see like the double set pieces I did last year, you can go and look for the thumbnail and see, oh yeah, there's that hand basket piece she was working on. Let me go back and look at that episode. So I try to keep those thumbnails there so that you can reference what you are looking at. Okay, so yeah, a lot of the things you all were talking about, Erin is mentioning this too. Tapestry and Fiber Arts chats, and it's, we're so busy, it's hard to do it in person sometimes. It's also just COVID has been a big problem. And also we live so far apart. Tapestry weavers are all over the world, and, not all of us are fortunate enough to have tapestry weaving friends in the same city. Though if you do, you should definitely get together and just support each other, because it can make a big difference. But it can be hard to find that. And so part of this sort of informal Change the Shed is just a way to feel a little bit connected to a community and to be able to chat with other people and maybe make some connections that you wouldn't otherwise. Also just to, feel involved in the tapestry community, which you don't get in like a static class quite so much. Maybe like a focused class is not quite the same thing. So I think Change the Shed is helpful for that kind of interaction. Jessica's asking if I'm still doing the Continental Divide Colorado Trail. Oh, I will be doing some backpacking, Jessica. Yes, I don't actually have that totally nailed down as to dates, which is why I was hedging a little bit on the Change the Shed dates. But yeah, I will be doing one section of the Colorado Trail, and I'm hoping a smallish section of the Continental Divide Trail, which actually sort of runs in the mountains right outside my house. So, and then, that's my plan for the summer. I'll be doing a lot of weaving. I hope to do some camping and put my feet up in my camp chair and weave next to a creek somewhere also. So, okay. Welcome all of you who have tuned in the last few minutes. Also, if you have friends who are interested in Change the Shed, mention it to them. I see that today, I actually am not looking at the right thing. Okay. I didn't do a very good job of marketing Change the Shed today, so we don't have as many people here, but you will watch it later. And also it's summer, so recordings are a great thing. Okay, so today I am working on, let me turn on my other camera. Let's see if I can do this today. Okay, I'm working on this little piece. This is just a copper pipe loom. Let's see if I can pick it up without destroying my, so here's the top of it. It's fairly long. Sorry about the blue tape. I usually use twine to tie those shed sticks up there, or I usually use some kind of little rod. But I don't know, I just used tape this time. I was feeling lazy this weekend. This is a copper pipe loom that I made. I really love these little copper pipe looms, and I have it extended fairly far. Let's see, just for reference, this loom is 23 inches long right now because I have the threaded rod open to about, here you can see how far this is, about 7 inches, which is nice. The other Iceland tapestries I did in Iceland, I had nylon threaded rod and I couldn't extend the loom this far, so it's nice to have, it just gives me a bigger shed. So this this little piece so I'm doing these little tapestry diary pieces from Iceland, and I did a couple. Those of you who've watched the other episodes probably saw these. I did these in Iceland. This one was about a sod house pattern, and this was from an image of a beach. This was actually the view out the window of where we stayed in Iceland. These are made all with Icelandic wool, and so I wanted to stick with that. I have a few more ideas that I wanted to do for my Iceland tapestry diaries. Also exploring Icelandic wool. So while in Iceland, we went to this mill. The Gilhagi mill is one of the 2 mini mills that I know of in Iceland. And I did do a blog post that has this, a little bit more about this mill in it. But this yarn, when I saw it, I was like, oh, I have to get some of that. It's a really nice singles yarn. It's really working well for tapestry. So I don't know, the mill owner was a little bit hesitant about whether they would really be doing these singles that much more. The tourists like to buy the knitting yarn, the 2-ply, but this is really a beautiful, super fine single that I got in 4 colors. Yeah, I'm using 3 colors on this. This is the black, a gray, and a white, and I also have a brown. So in this tapestry, let me show you what I'm doing. Here's the design. Let's see if you can see this. So this idea came from windows. I was fascinated with the windows in the buildings in Iceland. And so I wanted to do a tapestry there were these long strings of windows, which actually were double paned and quite beautiful. I wanted to do a tapestry with the double panes of those windows, but this is a really small format and I wanted to keep with this 2.5 inches wide thing. And at a set of, I increased the set here to 10, the other ones are at 8, but it still wasn't really possible for me to fit the detail that I wanted in this small format. So I simplified, and I have 1 string of these windows, and then there was a lighthouse that we saw that had like broken glass that was this sort of rusty color. It was sort of all discolored, and it wasn't broken all the way through. It was just like it had multiple panes and some of it was broken. And so I'm adding that idea in here with these little hatches all the way up. So I'm using a weft interlock for this side piece, and you'll notice that this is flipped over because I'm using an interlock I call the James Kohler interlock for this thing, and it works from the back. So I'm weaving this one from the back. So I had to remember to flip my cartoon over. So this is my cartoon. Notice I wrote weave side so I didn't mess it up. It's 10 ends per inch, and this is a fringeless warp. So four-selvedge, this will be the bottom. And the top is right where the edge of that orange is. All right. Yeah, I really like this Icelandic wool. So the hand spun was really fun. I have a bunch more fleece, and we'll do more hand spun stuff. But I noticed even with this commercially spun yarn, there's a lot of halo. It's fuzzy. You can see it right there, even in the camera. So it's a different thing for Tapestry to use a yarn like this. And I think that's probably going to be true with any Icelandic fleece, is that it has a lot of fuzz to it. Kathleen asked what size the warp is. So this is 10 ends per inch. This is a fringeless warp, and this is 26 cotton seine twine. But on a fringeless warp, the warps are doubled. So let's see if you can see that. There's 2 warps in each of these. So if I was not doing a fringeless warp, I would use probably a 12/6 cotton seine twine for this. But 26 is much thinner. And for a fringeless, where I'm doubling the warp, it's a great size of cotton seine twine for that. Oh, that's a great question, Marla. Did I put the orange in so I can see the top edge of your weaving at a glance? I didn't, but this is fly line backing. It's the thing I use for my supplemental warps with fringeless. And there's a whole class in my online classes about how to do this four-selvedge technique. It's really a fun thing. The class is mostly taught by Sarah Sweat, who's amazing. Anyway, I use fly line backing because that's what Sarah uses, and it's woven, so it works better for the supplemental warp just because it doesn't get all twisty like you can use cotton seine twine or something for your supplemental warp, but it gets all sort of twisted up. And the woven structure of the fly line backing, which is something you use in fishing, in fly fishing, it doesn't get twisted. Anyway, I had a lot of white, but I also had a little orange. I reuse it. This particular bobbin had this one piece of orange on it, and so I just ended up in the warp. But a good unintended side effect is that, yes, I can see where the top of the weaving is at a glance. So, wasn't on purpose, but maybe I will do it on purpose in the future. Cheryl, yes, this copper pipe loom does fit the tapestry frame holders from Weaver's Bazaar. They have a little block that comes out and you can fit. This is 1/2 inch threaded rod. At least I'm 90% sure that I tried that pretty sure, 90% sure that they do fit. Okay, so, well, I'm gonna have to watch my head or you're not gonna be able to see anything except my hair. So I'm doing, oh gosh, I've talked for almost 20 minutes without even weaving. I'm sorry, you guys. This is where that join is. So that long vertical line. I wanted to use the join because to untangle all these threads. A sewn slit that's that long can be fairly straight, but in my experience, it tends to get a little bit wobbly. And if you're careful with an interlock, you can, If you're careful with an interlock, you can get it straighter than a sewn slit. Not in terms of, you'll still see the little, where the interlock is creating a little bit of a toothed effect, but how straight it is between the two warps. It's a subtle difference. It's not huge. It's been a while since I did a weft interlock, so I'm actually having to concentrate a lot. Okay. Also thinking about when to bring back in this. This orangey color is not Icelandic. It is something I spun in Iceland, but it is just a bit of roving that I had brought from Into the World, I think, made this roving. Or dyed it. I'm going to put that in maybe on the next pick. So I'm picking, oops, that is the wrong shed. The pick shed. I don't have a huge, if I had a thicker shed rod at the top, it would be a little bit easier to find the two sheds, but I also think I'm actually expanding a little bit here. Let's just measure up there. Oh no, it is, so your eyes will fool you. I like to measure the width on small tapestries, even more than big ones sometimes, because gosh, your eyes will fool you. I thought I was pushing out, but I'm not. So you can overcompensate and cause the other thing if you think that you're expanding and you're not. So it's good to actually measure. Okay, so that one came back. I'm doing a little hatching of this window, dark window, and the background gray. This feels so slow today. I don't know why. Some days tapestry is just very slow. And then this is the join. There are 2 videos on this YouTube channel about this join. It's called I called it the James Kohler join. James Kohler was my teacher, and I called it that because I didn't know what else it was. It's just a particular setup of a weft interlock. And he used this join all the time, and he taught me, so I called it the James Kohler interlock. So that's what it's called on the YouTube channel. There is an older video, which has a lot more views than the newer one, but if you want to learn how to do the interlock, the newer video is better. Also teach this in the warp and weft class. All right, so I need to bring this in again. Am I gonna float or am I gonna cut that off? I'm not gonna float it. So let's start this here, and then I will have a shedding issue here in a second. Which I will fix by dropping out one of these butterflies, wefts, bobbins, whatever. Okay, right here is where that shedding problem is going to be. So that one stops and this one continues. This interlock only happens in one direction. It's not a double weft interlock. I actually thought about doing a double weft interlock right here, which is something I haven't used a lot, and would be a good thing to practice, but would have been a little bit straighter than this particular interlock. Okay. Let's go to here. The trick with an interlock is getting, can you guys see that? Is getting just enough weft in there and not too much, and then not screwing up your weft tension. Also and not screwing up your weft tension. This is fragile yarn, so I'm holding this shed open when I put it through. At least I try to remember to do that. Okay. Just just going to cut this because I seem to have decided not to have floats on the back. And this is the open shed, but I have such a skinny rod at the top that my fingers are having trouble finding it. So a smart thing to do would be to put a thicker up here where that shed stick is, to put a little bit thicker shed opening there, a rod in there, so I could find the open shed easier. And on this return, you want to pull the extra weft out of the last time across. Before we do it again, I did actually mark on here where the edge of these little windows are so that I don't forget. It's easy to get carried away and just roll right on past where you're supposed to be, which is partly why I like to mark on my warps. Okay. Marla, I can't just turn the shed stick sideways just the way it's set up. I mean, yes, I could, but I don't think it would stay. A round stick would be better, but I'm just beefing about it. It's my own fault. It's not the end of the world. It's always something, right? Humans always complaining about something. I really like these little copper pipe looms. So versatile, and they're so easy to make. And they're really great for this four-selvedge technique. Oh, yeah, try some of your hand spun. It's the thing I like about hand spun for tapestry is that the color choices are things you can do when you spin your own versus just immersion dyed yarn. It just opens up a world of color possibilities. So, you can spin, like here, this particular yarn I'm using is actually variegated. So my intention is not that this is solid the whole way, but that this shifts as I go up in color. So if it doesn't shift fast enough, I'll just pull off a different piece of this hand spun to get a different color in there. So yeah, hand spinning is great. It's the other reason I like to dye my own yarn, because you can get just endless varieties of color with all the different techniques. Even just in immersion dyeing, of course, you can get colors you wouldn't normally be able to purchase, which is probably my major reason for dyeing my own yarn, is that I want the colors I want, and although there are yarn lines with lots of colors, it's not quite the same as being able to make whatever color you want. Okay. I've enjoyed doing this tapestry so far. It's been really fun. I started it this weekend. Occasionally with this interlock especially, I will give this a little whack. I Don't want to hit it too hard, but just to make sure that that interlock packs in there. And then let's see if I can show you the other side. This is the other advantage of a pipe loom. We can turn it over and see what it looks like. So if you have a continuously warped loom like a Murex, or like there's other looms like that, it's hard to see the front, and the pipe loom is just such a great, you can flip it over and really see it. So in my conception of this, these shapes were more defined, and so it's interesting to see this weft is quite thin for this set, and so it makes this sort of thready pattern. I knew that the interlock would look pretty straight because the weft is so thick, so you don't see a whole ton of the little teeth. But it also affects the look of these shapes because the weft is thin. And so if I want it to be a more solid shape, I have to build up more passes, which is what I was doing right here. Now that I have tangled everything again. Okay. So we're going back. Okay. These kind of bobbins are actually made to hang on a vertical loom, not necessarily for laying on a table. Let's see. Let's double that. Sorry, I think you just saw the top of my head. I'm going to double this little spot right there to make this a little more pronounced. One of the things y'all said that you like about Change the Shed is listening to my muttering. So I hope that's true. It's just the things I'm thinking as I'm weaving, and I hope that's useful. It doesn't mean that what I'm doing or saying is the only way to do it, or that it's in any way right or anything else. It's just how I think. Okay. Let's bring this yellow back out. And I'm also just playing. These little tapestry diary pieces are just for playing. It's fun. It's a way to remember some place I went. It's a way when I'm there for me to pay attention to what is around me. It makes me take photos and sometimes notes or little sketches. I think often I design tapestries first thing in the morning when I wake up. I often will wake up with some little like, oh, I should do a tapestry like that. And then I have to remember to, get up and write it down. But inspiration comes from many places. So this summer I'll be doing my workshop in July. So I'm doing one of these live workshops every month. This month is the loom one I talked about, but in July I'm doing one where I'm doing that tapestry diary thing. So we'll be like, where do you find inspiration? How do you translate that into tapestry weaving? I think that is where a lot of people get stuck, that they feel like they have to, that it has to be realistic or something, that someone has to look at this and recognize, oh, that's that. So no one's gonna be able to look at this tapestry and say, oh, that's the lighthouse at yada yada on Skagi Peninsula in Iceland. Of course not. But for me, it's about that. And it's about this place I went, and it's sort of a experience and a memory. And so that's what that practice is for me. So I'm going to do a workshop about that in July, and you're welcome to join me. It will actually be a little different. It'll be a month-long workshop where I'll have prompts for you to follow, and then just sort of weave along almost with my own adventures. So you can have your own adventures and share what you're doing. All right, this is getting out of control. As I'm talking, this shape is getting bigger than I want it to. So let's fix that before I have to unweave. I do kind of like how this next shape is going a little higher than this line, which is the delineation of the window forms that I wanted in there. So I need to end this shape as the one I'm weaving. And so I have a space before that one goes in there, because here's where the top of that window is. So let's bring this over. Okay, let me just look at a few of your... Kay asked about the work thread. I talked about that earlier, so go back and look at the recording. When I weave the weft interlock from the front, I get a small bump where the threads join. Is there a way to smooth out the bump? Yeah, so Paula, that's why I do this interlock. This particular James Kohler interlock is a specific setup and it works best from the back. So when it creates a bump, but the bump, I can feel it here. The bump is on the back, it's smooth on the front. So either consider doing this interlock from the back, or if you don't want to weave from the back, do a different interlock. Either a particular weft interlock, which I think is diagrammed in the Warp and Weft class. It seems like maybe you're in one. Anyway, look in one of your online classes. It seems like maybe you are in one. If not, I will look up where I have the other interlocks and pop that in the show notes. There's a few other places. I just can't think and talk at the same time. Okay, cool. Yes. The bobbins, Deborah asked about these bobbins. Aren't they great? I actually need to order some more. So these are Melissa Ellison Dewey's. I'll put this in the show notes too. So Bobbin Boy is her and her husband's business, but these are called, I think she calls them skinny minis, or they might be skinniest minis. This is the same, just a little thicker. And I love the metal points. I just think they're really lovely. So Melissa Ellison Dewey from Bobbin Boy. Aniki asked how I choose my colors. In this case, partly it was just from Iceland. So these were the colors that I got. That I got at this mill, and I wanted to try weaving with them. I only had 4 colors, and so that was the basis. But Iceland is sort of, in some ways, a little monochromatic. So, I mean, there's a lot of gray and black and white in the sky, and I don't know that I'd say that there's less color there, because there's a lot of brightly colored roofs and things. But these colors went well with the feeling of the country. So partly it was just a materials limitation, and partly, okay, yeah. Just looking at my shedding problem here. Partly that. And I chose this gold from the, that particular lighthouse set of windows had this color. And so that's why I chose this color. Also, it was something that at least I spun it in Iceland, so I felt like it could fit the project. I could break my rules about only using Icelandic fleece. Okay, so because, shedding, some of you took that Fixing the Sheds workshop from me. The shedding problem is that I'm only using 1 butterfly of this because I don't want to use 2. If I use 2 butterflies, it would work out, but if I only use 1 every time I take it in and out, I have a shedding problem. So I have to replace this with one of this color every time I take that gold out. Yeah, that will work. That's what's happening there. That workshop was from, when did I do that workshop? March. Fixing the Sheds, Fixing Your Sheds. I think it was called Fixing Your Sheds. Okay, awesome. having so much fun today weaving, I'm going to lose track of time. Barbara is okay with my muttering. Thanks, you guys, for validating my muttering. I was editing some video for the dye class a few weeks ago, and there's this long stretch of video, which is sort of B-roll that you can watch or not, but where I'm measuring dye, and I'm muttering the whole time. Like, I don't hear myself doing it, but as I'm counting, as I'm measuring the dye and I'm counting, I'm saying this, sort of whispering this as I go. So I know I do it all the time, but I don't recognize it unless I'm shooting a video. Yeah, there's probably other, yeah, thanks Marlena for putting that in, Bobbin Boy, Melissa, Ellison Dewey. There are other people who make thin bobbins. I think Alexandra Iosub on Etsy I've talked about a lot, but I think she's maybe not making them right now. So I don't know about that, but I'm sure there's other people. These are just really nicely made. If you want bigger bobbins, that I talked about that guy in the UK. If you're in the UK, Andrew Dickinson, he sells bobbins through Weaver's Bazaar, and they're just gorgeous. They're just like pieces of art. Even if you could only afford to buy one of them, it's so fun to have them here. Like, here's a big one that he did. Like, it's just, I just like to hold it. It's so pretty. He has smaller ones too, but they're just like I'd like to have a little, display where I hung and just looked at them and petted them every now and then. It's silly, I know. They're tools, but we like to hold things as weavers. Oh, great, Paula. In Warp and Weft, when you're looking for the interlock, just leave me a comment and I'll, it was from changetheshed and we'll talk about it there. That'd be awesome. Yes, Karen, you can use Mirex for fringeless, and I show how to do that in the class. So that is one part of the class that I actually teach, because Sarah Sweat doesn't use Mirex looms. Mirexes are just fancy pipe looms. So I do show you how to use Mirex for, I was just thinking I had one sitting right behind me on the last Change the Shed that was warped with fringeless. So yeah, you can do that. Oh, thanks, Jean. She's saying she recommends the Fixing Your Sheds workshop, which you can find on my website under online learning. There's a tab there that says live workshops, so you can purchase the recording for that workshop. Okay, let's reevaluate because I'm just having too much fun. I'm going to just keep going all day long here. Let's turn this over and see what we can see. Okay, that is, let's see, this is just, is this one pick? Okay, so that's okay because I know it's only going to be one pick, but when I first saw that, I thought, oh, no, I don't like how that looks. So like in Tapestry, I have to think ahead. Like I know I'm going to cover this with the light color and it's going to be fine. That light color will probably come to here and it'll look more like this and everything will be okay. But it's easy when you first see something to think, oh God, that's not going to be good. I'm not going to like that. So think ahead or just be willing to unweave, try something, and then if it doesn't look like what you want, take it out. So far, so good. I think I'm going to like this piece. It's fun. I think I'm going to wish that I had a little lighter color out here instead of the gray, but maybe not. And maybe as I go up, I'll decide to hatch the, or to mix the gray and the white. I don't know. That's the fun thing. We can test it out. Oh, that reminded me too. Aniki said there's a list about who sells what in the course. That's true. And it's actually Aniki who helped with making a list of things sold, where things are sold in Europe and other places around the world. So there's a PDF about that in Warp and Weft is the class we're talking about there. But I also have on my website a page, pretty sure it's under online learning, pretty sure, that says resources. And so I just have been trying to keep the things that I talk about a lot of different things and try a lot of different things. And so I just try to keep where those things are on that resources page instead of that I can send people to that instead of having, resources all over the place is a good place to look. So just go to my website, which is tapestrywaving.com, and look under online learning. And I'm pretty sure that's where it is. I'll link that too. Okay. So I will be back on June 22nd. I'm going to guess I might have finished this by then, but if I say that out loud, I maybe won't have. So I've got a couple other small things in the works, and I also am still working on getting that loom ready to go again. So someone asked last week, and I didn't understand until I was setting up this week. I think, Vicki, you were asking about this thing over my head. I thought you were asking about the Murex loom that was behind me last week, but this is a camera rig. So that little black thing right over my head is where the camera attaches if I'm weaving on the Harrisville rug loom. It's a real pain to move it, so I just leave it there and figure you guys know this is a working studio. Yeah, Aniki, don't tell people it's going to be my birthday soon. That's a secret we're supposed to keep, right? No, it doesn't matter. We all have birthdays every year, right? I have a big birthday this year, though. Okay, well, let's get back together in a couple of weeks on the 22nd. And in the meantime, I'd love to see you in all the other fiber things I do. Oh, there's a new blog post coming out this week about the saga tapestry in Iceland. It was really fun to write it because it was such an amazing thing. So watch the blog this week. That'll come out on Thursday. Oh, thank you, Judy. Resources is under online learning. Perfect. Yeah, so right, Paula, thank you. We're going to keep doing Change the Shed. I'm excited about that decision, and you all helped me so much in coming to that. I just needed to hear what this thing was good for from the people who are watching. So you clearly all keep watching, so it must be good for something. I appreciate all your help and support and for coming and hanging out with me. And go warp all your looms. It looks like Billy's warping a 60-inch Gobelin for the first time. Just go slow and be patient. I have a 60-inch over there that I haven't warped in a long time because it takes deep breathing. But if you're patient, it's not too bad. All right, have fun, everyone. I will see you in a couple of weeks. It's been great hanging out, and we'll see how this weaving goes. So do your own weaving. Use the hashtag changetheshed on Instagram or wherever else, and we'll see what you're doing. Bye-bye.